idea really is that you can get to ask him lots of questions about how he works as an agent, projects he works on, how to kind of work with him, those kind of things. The idea is really to kind of demystify the role of the agents within the creative process. Charlie's going to say, he's going to talk a little bit just to kind of set the scene, talk about what he does, his career, projects he's worked on, and then when he's wrapped, I'm going to throw it open to the floor, and the idea is that you can ask Charlie whatever you want, and he's promised to be very kind of honest and direct. So thank you, Charlie, over to you.
Hey, thanks everybody. Can everybody hear me? Do I need to use a microphone or can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay?
Yes, can hear, no, don't need the microphone.
Use the mic. Okay, got it. Hey everybody. So, wow, what an honor for me to be here. I'm a Los Angeles born and raised kid, but Hollywood might have been as far away as Rome is to Hollywood. Over the years I've got to spend some time here and to really fall in love with this city. So to be here and have some Romans and some international film community people actually want to listen to me is quite an honor. And look at the surroundings, it's incredible. You know, Italian cinema for me is a bit of a passion. You know, it's the Postman, Cinema Paradiso, Rock and His Brothers, 8½, blah 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 blah, Sophia Loren, you know, Sordi. It's amazing, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Hollywood. So what I think we'll do is I'm going to launch in a little bit about what I do, what's my role in the food chain of Hollywood. But this is your time. So I want most of this to be your questions, and let's keep it unvarnished, maybe confidential if we can, so I can be colorful. You know. So I'm an agent. What is an agent? An agent's an advocate on behalf of artists, right? And my specialty is writers and directors for movies. Sometimes that involves producers, sometimes that leads into television, but my focus is really film, feature films, hopefully in theaters. We can come back to that. And what do I mean by advocacy, right? It's my job to help you build your career. It's my job to help my clients or any talented artists how to get their projects moving forward, how to build a long-term career, how to navigate, you know, film markets, film festivals, studios, financiers, producers, actors, you name it, I'm here to help. And in its most purest form, that's what it is. I'm advising artists on their business. And it can be rewarding, it can be challenging, it can be frustrating, it can be awful, it can be the greatest thing ever. And all of it is on the table. A little bit about me. I love Hollywood movies. I'm a blockbuster kid. I was a summer movie kid. You know, I was born in 1968. So when I was 7 years old, Jaws came. Right? You know, 1977, I'm 9. Here's Star Wars. Wow, those are some formative movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark in '81. And so, you know, as I become a professional, I really spend a lot of time focusing on those sort of action, science fiction, comic books, horror. That's what I like. I like the commercial stuff. But make no mistake, that doesn't mean they're still good, they're still bad, and it's quality. So I was thinking about how I wanted to do this introduction, and I had two interesting experiences happen here at MIA within the last 2 hours. The first one was a kid came up to me, a kid named Kyle from Echo Lake. I never met this guy before. I know his company, but I never met this guy before. He's like, I saw you speak. When I was a student, you came down to my film school and did something like this. He remembered me. Couldn't believe that. And you know what I did? I did just what I'm doing here in this here. I'm going to turn this mic over to all of you and let you ask your questions because it imprinted on him, and he reminded me of that 2 hours ago. Then I went and sat in a panel that was led by Tim here, and a good friend of mine over here was on that panel, and they were talking about the financing and distribution of movies. It was all about how do you package these movies. And I thought about that, and it's fascinating, and it's challenging, and I rely on Alex a lot when we're doing it to go there. But what they forgot to talk about, not the panel, but the questions, there was no Q&A. They forgot to talk about the quality. when people talk about the future now, everyone's like AI this and digital that. Forget, the algorithm is making things worse. Quality-wise, we're lowering the bar. And I think to succeed going forward is going to be about quality. Quality of our stories, quality of our characters, quality of our set pieces. We need quality. And if we can do quality, we get back to humanity. And I promise you humanity will beat AI. Or at least I'd like to think. And so that's kind of how I want to set the table. I'll turn it over to you, or I can keep talking because I love the sound of my voice. But I'll turn it over to all of you.
Yeah, any question? Have we got a first question anyway?
What makes you choose an artist over another? What is the thing that makes you choose an artist to represent?
I like their stuff. It usually starts with a screenplay. It's usually I always find I'll give you an example. I started representing a guy, I read a script, his name was Derek Kolstad. He wrote this script, it was just, it had really fresh, crisp action. And we didn't get anywhere with that script. But he had 15 scripts before, but this is the one that found me. The second script was called Scorn, and here's what's interesting about the script Scorn. It's a little tiny movie about a guy that lost his dog, and the dog was given to him by his now dead wife as a present to move on because she knew she was dying. And then some bad guys came and killed his dog, and then he killed all of them. That movie was called Scorn, as I told you, that script. What became the movie John Wick, right? So from small beginnings become big franchises or just good movies. So I don't know how to answer it other than say different people like different things, but again, it goes back to, I'm going to keep coming back to this word quality. You know, what is impactful, what gets you right there in the gut that says, this could be cool, this could be wonderful, this could be transformative.
So what is the right approach when somebody meets somebody like you? Because I think I have a trilogy that can be perfect for somebody like you, but I have to prove it.
Right. Well, this is the trick, right? How do you get to me? I got more scripts than I can possibly read, you know? And what I always like to say is there's lots of ways to get to me, but it's a challenge, right?
It is?
But it's a challenge. It is a challenge.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You know, there's screenplay competition. You're here sitting in this market, which means you know professionals. Eventually, it'll get referred to somebody like me, and then I'll read it. And then I'll say, I like this, I want to know more. Or, it doesn't quite work for me, I'm sorry, it's not landing.
But giving you one page will be enough for the beginning?
One pager is enough to maybe get me to read it, but it's about the script itself. It has to be about the script.
So you find somebody who knows you already?
Yeah.
Okay. Who knows you?
Yeah.
Question A.
I noticed that in the American market there is a difference. In Italy, we usually send or sell a story, not a screenplay. And when the producer get an option, then we write the screenplay. So also for an agent, maybe also a professional writer has not the screenplay yet, but it has a story. In Italy, the market, it's almost like that. Are you available to read only story? Do you know that in Italy it's more like that?
We're totally different. You know, like, so when you have a story, maybe you have a good, close relationship with the producer, somebody will help you develop it. Maybe you have profiles so you can sell it as an idea. Hey, I want to sell you my story, here's my pitch. You know, act 1, 2, 3. But I'm never going to take on a client or represent a story unless we have a long history together. Let's say we have a long history and you say, I got this idea about, you know, statues in a room or something like this. Oh, okay, yeah, I know your track record, this kind of idea might fit with here, maybe we can find a home. But as a starting place for you know, getting a project off the ground, really not going to work for me. And for most of the people that I work alongside of or compete against. Going back to this John Wick example, when it was Scorn, it was a little tiny movie, but it had this great character in the middle of it. You know, you had to write that. It had to be written. It was written as a spec script. Spec script means speculative screenplay. Means you're writing it, hoping somebody else will, realize it for you.
Okay, I want to switch a little bit the subject. There's a shrinking of the market in TV series. Everybody's talking about it, even in UK, which they had so many productions going on. Right now, the big question in the world is, what are the streamers looking for? Sometimes I heard some streamer was looking for something beachy, like one word. So my question, an Italian actress and screenwriter, my question is, which are the latest news from Hollywood? What is the market looking for in TV series and feature film, if you have any advice?
Do you know who William Goldman is?
Yeah.
He got a very famous quote, "Nobody knows anything."
Yes.
And it resonates through the ages and through the technologies. The streamers are particularly interesting because I have no idea. The algorithm seems to tell their executives something different every few months. But thankfully there's multiple of them, so you start to knock on all their doors. And again, it goes back to what do you love? What was that word I used? Advocacy. I'm an advocate. You love a story, you go. I was telling you about this kid Kyle who came up to me, right? He's like, he did this. He reminded me of a script I hadn't thought about in years, and it was so good. It was about a guy who had a talking dog and a talking cat, right? And the dog was always like, do the right thing, and the cat was like, always do the wrong thing. And the big realization of it was that he was a serial killer, and that was his internal conflict. And the movie became The Voices with Ryan Reynolds, which nobody's seen, but it didn't make any sense, except it was just good. It was a really good screenplay. And Ryan Reynolds found it, the director who wanted to realize it found Ryan Reynolds, and we were off to the movies. So I'm going to keep going back to things like advocacy and quality. You got to make it good, because that's the only way we're going to beat the algorithm.
My name's Neil. I'm a producer, director. I love what you're saying about advocacy and supporting creators. So, some context. I run a company in the US called Snarky Elephant.
That's a good title, man. I like that.
Well, so we're focused on creating content that addresses the elephant in the room in a snarky way. So, things about race, identity, sexuality, mental health, climate, right? These kind of important issues. And I think there's one side of what you're talking about, which is very connected with quality, right? We want to make sure these things aren't just entertainment. But a huge part of what we do in the flagship program that we have is this incubator that supports emerging creators, often award-winning short directors, but it's their first feature, right? Things of that nature, and getting things to you is, as he was saying, there's a lot of gatekeeping, there's a lot of barriers to entry. And I'm curious what you, either on a personal level or UTA, is thinking about. So one of the ways that we combat it is we have an advisory board of folks from Netflix and Lionsgate, different spaces. But we don't have agents, we don't have managers on there to kind of inform a little bit about that process. And I'm curious how you either think about that imbalance that currently exists in the industry and do something either on an individual level or with UTA, which you have a huge footprint for.
I think there's two parts to your question. I think I understand the first part. I have some advice on the first part, and I'm not sure I understand the second part. So let's work on this for a minute. We'll call it a workshop.
Okay.
So Snarky Elephant, was that the name?
Correct.
So Snarky Elephant, it's got a mission statement. So when I went, quick little backstory about me. I was born and raised in LA, as I already said. Hollywood was far away. I went away to college. I came back. I got into film school. I went to USC Film School, where I quickly learned that I could not be a writer, a director, and, well, to the actors in the room, I don't even know how you do it. I then went immediately into the mailroom of my new company. Quick thing about agents, particularly American agents, they usually start in the mailroom. You push mail, you file things, you run errands for people, and you become a secretary. We call them assistants, but trust me, we're secretaries. And then eventually, it's an apprenticeship business, and you start to, find some clients, get some more responsibilities. You wake up one day, you're an agent, and here you go. I say all that because when I wanted to give that backstory because I wanted to hit film school. There was a very famous journalist, I wonder if you know him, A.D. Murphy, Art Murphy. You ever heard of him? He was the Matt Bellamy for Variety back in the day. And he taught a class. He was very influential. And he hated spinach pictures. Called them spinach pictures because nobody really likes spinach because it's good for you. Nobody wants to go to the movies because it's good for you. So my advice to you is you're hitting some real important issues. Don't make it spinach. Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why we say it can't just, like, it has to be a good story at the end of the day, and it's almost the reverse. Like, we want to make things that aren't just entertainment, right? That they have substance to it. So maybe the second part of providing some additional clarity is in an effort to bring more of those stories to screen, both combating some of the misrepresentation or underrepresentation that we see in marginalized communities, but also from some of these important subjects like climate or mental health. How are either you as an individual or UTA as the part of you helping combat that imbalance? Does that make sense?
I think so. I think there's two answers. There's, as I like to call it, there's UTA, right? That's the mothership for me. Then there's the Ferraro office. Let's talk about UTA for a minute. They are a big, big fan of all of that. They want to help, they want to guide, they want to shape, they want to move it. And I applaud and I support that and help in any way I can. Then there's the Ferraro office, right? Ferraro office is just like, do I like it? Do I think it's good? And if it can be a part of what you're talking about, that's just a bonus. That's like some whipped cream on top of it. So I don't quite know how to answer the question, but I can, be candid and say this is how I look at it, right? One of my seminal movies is Dances with Wolves. And, but Dances with Wolves is, Kevin Costner out on the range, and we can turn it into some different things today. But at the time, it's an incredible Western. It's an amazing Western. This guy goes out on the frontier, he learns about, the Native American culture, and he has a whole transformation because of it. Wow. And it's an amazing, fun, great adventure movie. And you sit there and you think about it, like, maybe there was maybe the natives got a raw deal. Maybe that wasn't so good. But you had to think about it. You would absorb that because the ride was so good. That's how I approach the kind of issues there. It's got to be there, right? It's got to be a part of it, right? Alex was reminding me of the script that turned into the movie Greenland, and they got a sequel coming in. Yeah, that's climate change right there. Yeah, it's an end of the world apocalypse disaster thriller with Jerry Butler saving the world, or at least saving his family, right? Yeah, but it's all kind of driven by climate change, right? You get to that after you've had your good ride. That's the way that I look at it. That's the Ferraro office.
I guess if there's a part two, is there something that feels very personal to you that, some of those things that drive whether you find yourself engaged, supporting climate activism, right? You're like, hey, you know what, I like this, or whether it's something that's personal to you that feels, hey, I care more about these kinds of stories coming to surface?
Yeah, but to me, the common theme for everyone is, I think we're all humans, right? And I think we're all common in our own ways. Whether you're the Pope or you're Bill Gates or you're, whatever, the sanitation worker or whatever, we're all the same. We're all dependent on each other. So I want the universality of our experience here. Friends, family, parents. Sun goes up, sun goes down. And if you can wrap into some larger things where maybe we didn't treat certain people well, it's every day. It's an ongoing process, but I want that. That's your main character, right? That's your everyman, as they used to say, right? That's what it all that. I bet you if you look at all your favorite movies, all your seminal characters, that's going to be the commonality.
Question. Let's say somebody here got your script, and then you read it and you loved it, and you're going to sell this script. So you're going to be asking buyers for a 2-hour commitment to read a screenplay. So you're going to go to Warner Brothers, Universal, Paramount, Netflix, all these places. Are there tools that you're asking writers and producers for to help you get over the hump? Because you're the first layer, then comes the next layer. You've got to get them to read it. So So I'm hearing a lot about pitch decks, visual aids, trailers. Is there something that you demand of your people in addition to the screenplay to help you sell?
No, I've been doing this a long time. I'd like my reputation to do it. When you say tools, though, we have to separate writers and directors, right? Screenplay. In fact, the more I'll take all those tools you said. I'll define it as bitching it up. You want to bitch up the screenplay? It's a turn-off to me. It immediately tells me you're trying to bamboozle me with some sizzle instead of some good steak. So I'm not that interested in that. Right now, you're a director. You got to take this blueprint called a screenplay, and you got to realize that into a movie. You got to get Alex Brunner over here to help us get some money, right? Now it's a different thing. Now I need some sizzle, because now we're selling a movie. We're selling a start date. So we gotta put the vistas out there, right? So it's like this room, right? We got these nice walls, this pretty nice big vaulted ceiling, right? It doesn't come alive till you put the statues and the paintings on the wall. That's the sizzle. The screenplay is just the walls, they're blank.